Hi, I'm Duane Carey, and welcome to The Point, where we feature one interesting guest for 10 minutes or less. We start with a quick introduction, we end with the guest giving a shout out, and the 7 or 8 minutes in between is where they make their point. Today we're joined by Phil Croskey, who's one of the founders and the CEO of Maryland Energy Advisors, a really great company in Baltimore City. And we're going to talk about this highly important topic of the health and welfare of minority-owned businesses, particularly in urban areas. So I'm really looking forward to having this discussion, especially in light of some of the things going on in our country right now. Bill, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Duane, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, man. Before we get into this heavy topic, can you take a minute and tell everybody, I'm really impressed with Maryland Energy Advisors. I know a couple of your partners. I've seen your work. I know a lot of your clientele. It's a very impressive company, started by a group of guys that really weren't in business before and were working for the government. And you're kicking it. Can you tell us a little bit about Maryland Energy?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, Maryland Energy Advisors, or MD Energy Advisors, we started in 2010, Duane, as pretty much a nights and weekends, what they referred to now as a side hustle in the energy sector. We started really brokering electricity and natural gas, and we bootstrapped the company with $10,000 back during a recession. I think we were a little bit crazy or insane or a little bit of both. But we were able to take that $10,000 and grow to the company in which we are today. We're still small. We have 12 employees, but we serve the commercial real estate and advise them on all energy matters, including efficiency and renewable projects throughout the region.
I actually think it's a great segue really into the topic we're going to talk about because so there's 3 partners and 2 of you are minorities. Do I have the math right on that?
Yes, yeah, that is correct.
So you are crazy because anybody who's an entrepreneur is crazy. That's by definition. We all know that. And you have to be to actually be successful. But here you are. You're in Baltimore City, and awesome office, by the way. I love your place.
Thank you.
Not everybody else. In fact, most minority-owned businesses are not anywhere near the success stories that you guys are. And there are reasons for that. And there are massive implications for society regarding that. So let's talk a little bit about your thoughts on this subject. I know it's something that you're very passionate about. So let's start to get into it a little bit.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, we were fortunate, Duane. My background was in banking, and then I spent some time, as you mentioned, in government. With the Baltimore Development Corporation. And Jason, Paul, and I all came from Baltimore Development Corporation doing economic development. And we had a good opportunity to really sit down with businesses and do outreach and talk to business owners. And I think that really kind of helped us hone in what type of culture, what type of company we wanted to build. And it was not easy. Again, as I mentioned, we started bootstrapped with $10,000, and we had to make sure that we were doing right, not only by our customers, but reinvesting in the business as we went along. So it was a journey, and it still is a journey, but we are a lot more fortunate than a lot of our peer groups in regards to minority businesses.
Yeah, and so let's talk about the whys. Why are so many minority businesses not as healthy?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Financially.
Yeah, and this is a great topic, as you mentioned, Duane. I'm very passionate about this. I think it really starts with the origins of a lot of companies, and really origins from, when you look at it from an African American perspective, we don't have the ability to go out many of us go out with the friends and family round. Many of us don't have, a trust fund that we can tap into that provides startup capital. So in a lot of instances, we're actually starting from a deficit where we are starting similar to how we started our company, really just bootstrapping and making sure that we are reinvesting in the company as we're growing the company. So a lot of us, we start with $100 and we're trying to make 105 out of it. And that lack of capital really serves as a detriment as it pertains to really growing the business. When you have an incident like COVID-19 and what we're experiencing today, it can be devastating to a lot of companies.
How does size come into play? You had 3 sets of brains and and eyes and ears and experiences. How does that compare to a lot of the other companies? Aren't many of them very, very small and like one person?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. When you look at kind of statistics as it pertains to minority businesses, something like 95% do not have employees, which is amazing. That how can you really scale and grow? You need employees, you need people, you need to be a job creator. If I put my economic development hat on, be a job creator for these communities that need jobs the most. And so we've got to be able to find a way to strengthen and scale minority businesses. And how do we go about doing that in a manner that helps them grow and really be vibrant in their communities?
We're really talking about businesses in urban settings, right? I mean, yeah, of course we want to grow minority businesses everywhere, but
Yeah.
in the burbs, in Columbia, in Towson, maybe it's not as critical as it is, say, in Baltimore City
Yeah.
or a couple of spots in Prince George's County or in DC. That's where so many of the ills that plague those communities, they're not being addressed by other means. But you and I know that rising economic tide lifts all boats, and that's where we've really got to focus our time and energy.
I agree 100%. I think when you look at some of the challenges that the urban areas and Baltimore City specifically, those types of areas experience, it has to do with lack of economic power, lack of economic infrastructure. We've got to, and this is not something new. This is decades where you've had, no jobs available to folks that are within the community. And to take it a step further, not just a job, but a job in which you can support a family. I think back on my upbringing. Fortunately, my dad was able to land with the federal post office, and that was a good enough job to take care of our family. Although he wasn't college educated, again, those types of jobs were jobs that you can go buy a home and you can ultimately save money and send your kids to college. If we don't have those job opportunities in the cities and in the urban areas, it's going to always be a challenge to erase and eradicate some of the ills of those communities.
So it's really, in many ways, a double whammy or a triple whammy, because not only can that one federal postal worker, civil servant salary not support a family anymore, but it especially can't in high tax areas. And Baltimore City, it's got a serious problem with high tax. The more people leave, the more they raise taxes, and the more people leave, and the more they raise taxes. They've got themselves in a vicious cycle that just exacerbates this problem. I think the word you used was economic power. I think that's everything. I think that encapsulates what this issue is here. It's a lack of power.
Yeah.
What do you do when you have no power?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you and I both know, key to our existence is our ability to provide and take care of our families. And a lot of that is born out. We're entrepreneurs, but that's born out of having a job, having livable wage, having opportunities afforded to you. And if your community is void of opportunities, it's going to be hard for you to take care of your family, to take care of yourself in that regard. Yeah.
So we've defined the problem,
Yeah.
and we're already about 8 minutes into our 10 minutes here. What's the solution? What are the next steps? What do we do to start addressing this in a real way?
Yeah, I think there has to be an incentive for companies to go into these areas and also to help the community, meaning everyone may not be cut out to go find a job, but let's see if we can help folks start a business, whether it's a landscaping business, whether it's a power washing homes business. Let's teach entrepreneurship in communities where people can kind of control their own destiny as much as possible. Let's then reinvest in those people who've taken a chance and give them incentives to go out and hire people and give them livable wages. But it has to be done with the government's assistance, where they can't be a hindrance, but it's also got to be facilitated by the private sector as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, I'm personally, I'm a very big fan of community colleges. I think they bring a tremendous value to the community.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of avenues there, but I think one of the bigger things going through my mind right now, I'm looking at the clock. We're pretty much at the end of our time, because I want to give you a minute to do a shout out. I think, Phil, we need to make this a series, a sub series of The Point, where we tackle this problem and maybe go in a little bit more depth, and maybe we do. One of the reasons we did The Point is because people don't have an hour to sit and listen to a webinar. Right. But on some topics, like, we got to solve this. This is an issue that really needs to be solved. So we're not going to do it right now, but let's commit, you and I, to doing more of this. Let's follow up with this and bring in some more people. I know you're on some nonprofits that look into this. Mm-hmm. Let's really start trying to focus the government and the business community more on doing more about this.
No, I would love to. I would welcome the opportunity to assist in that and create and continue this dialogue.
Okay, that sounds good. How about your shout out?
Yeah, I couldn't be here without my business partners, Jason Schwartzberg and Paul Carey, who you know well. I mean, these guys, we all got into this truck together on this journey, and we're still in the truck on the journey, and it's been exciting. So that's my shout out.
Such a great story, 10 grand, let's do it. The three of us are going to make this happen, and now 12 employees and just an incredible client list. I love it.
Thank you.
Great success story. Thanks, man. All right. So Phil Croskey, we're going to do this again. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.